Sundancer's first ride is finally here. I wanted to preface by letting you guys know that the last session in the last video was actually way back in July. Life kind of got a little crazy here, got busy with horses coming in, different work we were doing around the sanctuary, fencing, working on a water line, getting hay barn up, things like that. So it's been a little nuts. So here I am again. By this point, this session was in October. So from July to October, we did not work on any of this. So I'm showing you just really raw where we are picking up at and how I'm making sure to go through a big refresher session before I'm trying for that first official ride with Sundancer. It's so important that we make sure that he remembers everything and that he is still just as comfortable with everything that he has learned. So he did really well. You can tell he's a little bit hesitant here sometimes to approach and let me on, but by the end we're working pretty smoothly and he's very calm and relaxed. So I decided to do his next ride, or his first ride, in the next session. But by the time we actually got around to another session, it is December. So here we are all the way in December. Big gaps between sessions here. I don't recommend it, but my inconsistency with Sundancer really just shows the retention these horses really have when using positive reinforcement. So here I'm just doing a little refresher of the walk cue. I'm asking him to follow my target. And as you can see, he's walking off quite nicely, and I'll just click and go ahead and reward while he is walking. So if I waited and rewarded him when he touched the target, that would be reinforcing touching the target versus reinforcing the walk cue. And I also tossed around the idea of using a ground man, but sometimes that just ends up being problematic because the horse doesn't understand the cues from the rider. They're just relying on that ground man. So I decided not to do that, and instead I'm just going to use my target to facilitate the walk during his first couple rides here. So that's why I'm doing this refresher on the walk cue. It's very, very important that that is very solid and he understands the concept before I get on his back and ask him anything. I also wanted to note here that I'm not just hopping on his back and expecting all to be fantastic and wonderful. I'm taking small, slow steps. Here I'm just putting a little bit of weight on him and putting my body on both sides of his. And we're just taking small steps and making sure that he is still very comfortable with every building block behavior up to what we need to get his first ride underway. So I'm just doing a lot of repetition here, and I am assessing every step of the way for stress indicators before moving forward. I cannot stress that enough. If he was getting stressed or worried or tense here, or was leaving the mounting bucket, then I would say, okay, I really need to take this into consideration, slow down, and not do the actual first ride today. If I pushed him when he was telling me with his stress indicators that he wasn't exactly ready, then the consequences of what would happen after that are on me, and then that becomes a negative experience for Sundancer. So we want to make sure that we are nice and ready before we proceed. Okay, and here it is, the big moment. So if you've noticed, I'm putting a leg over and getting him used to that before I hop all the way on. But now it's time. So I've got my target out, and as you can see, it's not pretty, but he does take a few steps and has the right idea. And since we always reward for the smallest try, I went ahead and hopped off and rewarded him for that amazing, beautiful first few steps with a rider on his back. And now we just begin to repeat that process, ideally asking for more steps each repetition. And here I'm really taking my time. Notice I'm not just hopping on. I put that leg over and make sure he's comfortable. Now we have a little bit of hesitation, but that's okay. He's not showing me any stress indicators, so I'm not worried. I'm just gonna wait here for him to find the correct answer. If he was showing stress indicators, I would certainly get off and we would back up a couple steps, build his confidence, and kind of start over a little bit there before moving forward. But again, it's not perfect, but he got the right answer. He understands what I'm asking for. So I dismount and go ahead and reward that beautiful, beautiful behavior. These next couple clips are just showing you the progression of how the rest of this session went. And I just wanted to talk a little bit while this plays about why I'm not asking for walk, trot, and lope like lots of quote-unquote trainers insist on receiving during a first ride. In kind horse training, the horse's experience is far more important than the physical achievements that we see from that particular session. So the fact that these are literally Sundancer's very first steps with a human on his back, he's staying calm and relaxed, his head level's nice and low, his breathing rate is nice and deep, his eyes are relaxed and blinking, his ears are swiveling around, he's very present, he's very willing, he is consenting to all of this happening. As you see here, he's just standing so beautifully by the mounting bucket, waiting so patiently for me. These are all things that we want, ideally, in our first rides with our horses. So it's been such a positive experience for him. Now, if I were to be greedy and say, no, this is not good enough, I want you to trot with me on you today as well, chances are something in that process is going to throw him way over his stress threshold. Then we're going to see some bucking, some possibly bolting, and who knows what else. And that is going to become a negative experience. So that's why we're sticking to a walk today. And as you saw, we got a full beautiful circle for his first ride, nice and calm, completely tackless and at liberty. Ideally, we want every new thing we do to be just another thing we're learning and no big deal. So to end off this amazing session, my heart is just soaring at this point. We just did some very simple haltering and some work with these reins here that we'll be introducing later on. I just wanted to end off on a very, very easy behavior that he's done a million times. That way, even if he did have a little bit of stress that we couldn't even see through his indicators about me riding him for the first time, we're going to go ahead and kind of wipe that clean and build his confidence right back up with this easy behavior he's so confident with. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave any questions in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.